Now, there's a great leadership lesson that you can learn from the dashboard of your vehicle. You see, every vehicle has a dashboard, and the purpose of the dashboard is to provide you real time, moment by moment, minute by minute, second by second feedback on how your vehicle is performing. So if you want to know how fast you're driving, just look at the dashboard. If you want to know how much gas you have in the tank, just look at the dashboard. If you want to know how hot the vehicle is running, just look at the dashboard. And that information will tell you exactly how your vehicle is performing. Now, what's crazy is that you can literally drive your vehicle even if the dashboard is broken. Like if all the lights are off and nothing is working, you can still drive your vehicle. However, what's going to happen is eventually you're going to break down on the side of the road because you're going to run out of gas. Why? Because you didn't know that there was no gas in the tank. Or you're going to look up in a moment and you're going to see the lights of a police officer pulling you over, and he's going to say, you know what, you were going 80 in a 40. And you're like, oh man, I had no idea that I was going that fast. Why? Because your dashboard is broken. And so while you can drive your vehicle without a dashboard, the dashboard does provide some critical information in order for you to operate at a high level. And the same thing applies to your leadership. That if you want your leadership to operate at a high level, if you want to get optimal performance out of your leadership, then you have to have a dashboard. You have to have feedback built into the rhythm of your leadership. You need to be hearing from your supervisor, from your team members, from your support about how you're doing, how you're performing, whether you're performing at a high level or whether you're missing the mark. And what that feedback allows you to do is to make some tweaks and to make some adjustments so that you can maximize your potential and become the best leader that you can possibly become. Now, if you're leading a team, don't just wait for the annual performance appraisal or the annual performance review to provide feedback. That once a year performance thing, it's good and it has its place, but it doesn't really drive performance. What will really drive performance is if you build into the rhythm of your weekly staff meetings or your daily walkarounds, where you're just kind of connecting with your team members, and as you're connecting with them, you're providing them feedback on, man, you're doing a great job, or man, I would love to see you do this, or why don't you make some tweaks here or some tweaks there. Now, let me be very clear. I'm not talking about micromanagement. You're not micromanaging your team. You're not looking over their shoulder and telling them, hey, don't do this, do that. And you're not nitpicking. No, you're giving them autonomy and the freedom to operate and to do the job the best way they feel they can do the job. But along the way, you are just providing feedback so that they can perform at the highest level possible. If you're on a team, you want to solicit feedback from your supervisor. If he or she's not already giving you feedback, you want to go to them and say, you know what, I really want to perform at a higher level. What do you recommend I do in this situation? Or can you give me some feedback about this call I'm about to have with a client? Or can you tell me how we're performing on this project? What do you think is going on? Do you think we're moving in the right direction? You want to solicit that feedback from your supervisor because you want them to know, I'm interested not just in your opinion, but I'm also interested in growing as a leader. Listen, if you're on my team and you're asking me for feedback, what that lets me know is wow, you're not just settling for doing things the way you think they should be done, but you're actually recognizing that I have blind spots and I need the feedback from my supervisor, from my team members, so they can help me perform at my highest level possible. So feedback is critical because what feedback does is it creates a learning environment within your organization so that feedback is given, feedback is received, feedback is given. It's called this feedback loop. And as the feedback loop keeps going and going and going, the learning environment increases. You're able to gain information. You're able to learn information about what you should be doing and how you can perform better. Your boss or your supervisor or other team members are able to get information from your perspective on what you see them doing, and everyone is able to grow. Now, let me give you a real quick example. If I was a mechanic and you brought your car to me because, let's say, the transmission wasn't working, and I got into your car and I fixed the transmission, I would, as a mechanic, immediately receive feedback on whether or not I did a good job, because either the car would work or the car wouldn't work. That feedback from the vehicle about my work will let me know, yes, you did a good job, or no, you did not do a good job. Now, that works in like the mechanic or that in that hands-on construction industry where you're building something, you're fixing something. But in the service industry, when you're working with clients, when you're leading an organization, when you're working with a volunteer team, when you're launching projects or trying to get something off the ground, that feedback doesn't always come as rapidly. And so you have to actually go out and seek that feedback so that you can make sure you're moving in the right direction and you're performing at a high level. Now, I recognize that this idea of creating a learning environment and receiving feedback from your team members and from your team leader, it kind of presupposes that the environment in which you're operating is a healthy environment where your team leader is actually wanting you to succeed, where your team members actually are, they have your best interests at heart. I recognize, however, that not everyone functions in that environment. And so if you're watching this and you're not functioning, you don't have that type of supportive environment, that type of healthy organization that you're working in, I still want you to lean into creating and getting feedback from individuals, but you're just going to have to be selective of who those individuals are. So at the end of the day, feedback is important if you want to function at a high level. All right, so this is what I want you to do. If you're on a team, I want you to talk to your team leader and say, you know what, I would love to get some feedback. If you're leading a team at your next staff meeting, I want you to say, you know what, guys, I want to start giving you all more feedback on how you're performing so that we can perform at a high level. It's informal, it's non-judgmental, it's not about you're going to lose your job or get a promotion. No, it has nothing to do with that, but it has everything to do with you performing at a high level. So check it out and let me know how it goes. Peace.